Hey everybody, we got part two of the gamification of violence. This time the celebrity is Tim Ferriss. Now, a lot of you probably know who Tim Ferriss is. If you don't know who Tim Ferriss is, I'm not sure where you've been the last 15 years. The guy has just become a megastar, especially on YouTube, huge influencer. Um, and he tells a story in his, I believe it's 4 Hour Work Week, where he talks about a competition that he did in 1999 in China for, I think it's called Sun Shao. It was a version of Chinese martial arts where he became a grand champion. He walked away with the gold medal and a grand champion, and he only had like a couple of weeks to train. And how did he do it? Well, he did it in a very interesting way. He said it's not, and this is in his book. He says, it's not because I was the best puncher or kicker. He goes, God forbid. He said, but there were two things. He goes, I read the rules and I realized, oh, there's two opportunities within the rules of this competition that I can take advantage of. One was that the weigh-in was the day before the fight. So he was going to compete at 165 pounds, and he knew how to strategically dehydrate himself. He had been already doing that in other disciplines that he'd been doing, and he understood how to do it, and then pack on almost an additional 30 pounds the next day. So he would weigh in at 165, and he'd be showing up at 195 the next day. So like 3 weight classes above, where this other kid is fighting at, his opponent. So that was one advantage that he did. The second thing was he read one of the rules that said a fighter would be disqualified if he fell off. This is a staged event. It's like a step-up stage. You'll see in the video that I have. And he realized, he said, oh, if the guy goes off the stage, I believe it was just one time. It might have been a couple times or something. But anyways, he knew all he had to do is push the guy off the stage and he'd be disqualified. It would be resulting in a TKO, technical knockout, and you'd win. So that's how he did it. He's shameless about it. He's, oh yeah, all I did was I outweighed the guy by 30 pounds, and I was able to use my bulk to make sure that I could push him off the stage, and I'd win. So it had nothing to do with superior skill set. It was just a strategy that he figured out when he looked at what? The rules. Again, you're asking yourself, hey, well, Tim, what does this have to do with self-defense, self-protection? Again, I go back to combat sports and I show these kind of extreme examples of people manipulating the rules or using the rules to their advantage. Rules that do not exist in the real world. So anyways, just for entertainment purposes, let's watch the video. He did he put a little video together, and I got about 10 seconds of it, and you're going to see how he does it. You see him pushing people off the stage, and that's how he won. So let's take a look. There he is, one right off that ledge. See that little ledge right there? Again, pushing the guy off. Here he throws the guy right off behind. And that's it. That's all he needed to do to become a gold medal champion of the sport, in less than 4 weeks of training. Pretty brilliant when you look at it. Again, if the goal is to win the event, it doesn't matter. Why play the game when you can beat the game? And that's exactly what he did with this. So I don't have a problem with stuff like that, because again, when you gamify violence, then play the game, man. Use the game to your advantage. Use the rules to your advantage. Do all those things. That's probably one of the biggest complaints that a lot of combat sport practitioners have talked about certain martial arts over the years. I know there's a lot of people in the BJJ community that really lament the fact that the idea of the BJJ for self-protection, very effective street self-protection, has given way to more competition type BJJ where you're scoring points and you're doing little intricacies that really have nothing to do with your ability to protect yourself or take care of yourself on the street. It's just to win points. I know Jack Dempsey in his book, Championship Fighting, lamented the fact that boxing had taken a turn in the 50s and 60s towards more point-based fighting rather than learning how to hit with body weight and being able to use it for self-protection. So again, when you gamify violence, the goal of a competitor is to win, and a competitor will use whatever advantages they have to do that. Oftentimes you'll hear boxers like the Klitschko's, they'll say they're very boring to watch. They don't put themselves out there because they're extremely technical. Floyd Mayweather, they say, is just one of those guys. It's just really hard to hit him, but not always fun to watch. Because again, you don't get to see that raw power. You don't get to see, true fighting. And so I just want, the reason I do these videos is they're kind of a nice break. I've been doing some hardcore stuff lately. But it's also a big reminder to let you know that, hey, rules are there to protect the fighters, and rules are there also to be manipulated and used. And those rules do not exist once you step out that door, once you leave the dojo, once you leave the ring, once you leave the training area and step out to go to your car, all bets are off. And so that's why you need to really understand real self-protection. It's just not that one is better than the other. Again, everybody knows I'm a huge combat sport advocate. I love watching combat sports. I have tons of friends that are in it. Started out doing combat sports when I was a kid. So I got nothing but respect for those guys. But what's interesting is when you show these manipulations of the rules, you can see that, oh, hey, this really doesn't have anything to do with protecting yourself, and it really has nothing to do with whether or not you're capable to take care of yourself. This is merely taking the rules and bending them to your will. So I hope you enjoyed this. I have a very funny Tim Ferriss story that I may tell one day when I met him years ago. And, he's a great guy. He was a good guy. I mean, there was nothing there. It was just embarrassing for me the way it's set up, but maybe I'll save that for another time. Listen, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you make your comments. Your comments are huge. I really get a lot of feedback. The reason a lot of these videos were made was because you guys contacted me and said, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you mean by gamifying violence? And I'll get more into this because there's more things to go. Maybe I'll go over the UFC rules with everybody and kind of show it from that perspective on the next one. But your feedback is what drives these videos. So I hope you enjoyed it. All the best.